What's going on, people? Welcome to another video. I'm here to predict the Detroit Lions 2026 NFL season. Okay? So first of all, they lost some players, they gained some players. Apparently they go out and they get an offensive tackle in the draft, they get an edge rusher in the draft, they get a linebacker, a corner. First four picks looked amazing on paper, but we'll see how they play in the actual season. Notable losses for them. They lost a couple players. Alex Anzalone, I guess, is no longer on the team. He's like 31 years young, a little bit older. They lost David Montgomery, who went to the Texans, but they went and they got Isaiah Pacheco. They went and they got Cade Mays, who's a pretty good center. And they lost Amik Robertson, cornerback, Khalif Raymond. I don't even know who that is. But anyway, after looking at the schedule for the Detroit Lions, just briefly, this schedule looks pretty easy, honestly. They got a great chance of winning a significant amount of games. They have a great chance of making it back to the playoffs with this schedule. And so let's get into it, okay? So the first week of the season, the Detroit Lions play the New Orleans Saints at home. I think this is a W. New Orleans Saints, I don't think they're going to be all that tough. But then again, they might surprise us. But I just don't see how the Lions can lose the first game of the season here. So they beat the Saints in week 1. Then week 2. Detroit Lions travel out to Buffalo to take on the Bills. And this is the season opener for the Buffalo Bills in their brand new stadium. I see this as a loss for the Detroit Lions because this is the very first game in the Bills' brand new stadium. Josh Allen is going to put on a show, and the Bills take the dub. Week 3. Lions go up against the New York Jets, who are not really a promising team, the New York Jets, with Geno Smith at quarterback. They have a couple good players on the team, but for the most part, I think the Detroit Lions win this game in week 3. Week 4, they go up against the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. Carolina Panthers defense looks lethal. And I think this is going to be a loss for the Detroit Lions. Week 5, Detroit Lions go out to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals, who is their quarterback? Brissett or whatever? I don't see how the Lions can lose this football game. Yeah, they have to travel some ways, but Arizona Cardinals are really not much of a threat. Week 6, the Detroit Lions have an early bye week. Kind of like how the Packers had an early bye week last season. But the Detroit Lions have a much easier schedule. Week 7, Detroit Lions go up against the Green Bay Packers in Detroit, and the Packers take the W after the bye week. And then week 8, Detroit Lions go up against the Minnesota Vikings, and they win. I think there's a whole lot of question marks for the Vikings in terms of who the heck's their quarterback going to be at this moment in time. Again, it's a game of injuries. Kyler Murray seems like a player who doesn't really last a whole season if you look at his record. However, he can play well, but I think the Detroit Lions take the W here. Week 9, the Detroit Lions travel out to Miami, taking on the Dolphins, and they get the win. The Detroit Lions are much farther ahead than the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins have a bunch of players that they're paying for that are not even on the team. You know, Jeff Hafley is a great head coach, I would say. I mean, we'll see how good of a head coach Jeff Hafley will be. Is his first season. But the Dolphins, they just need more time to develop to be anything of special on the field. Now, Week 10, the Detroit Lions take on the New England Patriots. I don't think the Patriots would be all that good. And this is going to be a overseas game in Germany. And I think that the Detroit Lions take the win here because I don't think the Patriots are all that good. The Patriots had a real easy schedule last season. And now they got a little bit of a tougher one. But I think the Detroit Lions take the dub. Week 11, Detroit Lions take on Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home, not in Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay, although they got Anzalone on their team, and they got this guy called Bain, who's really good as an edge rusher, I still think that the Detroit Lions will take this win as they are going to be playing at home in Detroit at this moment in time. Week 12, Detroit Lions go up against the Chicago Bears at home, and I think the Detroit Lions take the win because I don't think the Bears are going to be all that good this season. I think they're going to have a bunch of injuries because they got very lucky last season. Bears have a solid offensive line, but that's about it. You know, they lost DJ Moore. The Detroit Lions take the W. Okay, now on to Week 13. Detroit Lions go out to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Who the heck is the quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons? Is it Tua? Is it Penix? Who the heck knows? Who the heck cares? Because the Detroit Lions take the W. They win against Atlanta Falcons. Then Week 14, Detroit Lions take on the Tennessee Titans at home. Oh my God, another easy team. And they win this game easily. Tennessee Titans, I think they might be a little bit better, but I think they need a little bit more time, maybe one more season to be of any relevance. Week 15, Detroit Lions take on the Minnesota Vikings, and it's a loss. I just think it's going to be a split, as I think the Minnesota Vikings are trying to prove that they are capable of winning a good team against a good team, and they take the W. Week 16, Detroit Lions go up against the New York Giants. New York Giants might be a little bit better. However, it's a night game in Detroit, and the Detroit Lions take the win going up against the Giants. Giants have a brand new head coach in Harbaugh. They have that guy Jackson Dart, and they got Scadaboo. These guys, they just, I don't know, that first season that they played, they didn't really protect their heads, but they needed to protect themselves a little bit better if they want to win some football games. But I think the Detroit Lions take this win, and that's just how it's going to go. All right, Week 17, Detroit Lions go up against the Chicago Bears. Whole lot of pressure going on here. I think maybe Chicago Bears are trying to push for a playoff spot. However, Detroit Lions lose to the Bears apparently because they've already got plenty of wins to make it in the playoffs. So maybe they're a little bit less motivated at this point because they are less motivated. Week 18 against the Green Bay Packers, and I think it's going to be a loss. Loss because it doesn't matter anymore because the Detroit Lions have already made it to the playoffs. They are resting their players. They have 11 wins and 7 losses in the season. Now, some people say that the Detroit Lions are not going to be all that good, but I think that, looking at them on paper, they are decent, but they tend to put up a lot of stats against really bad teams. And in this season, they go up against a lot of bad teams if you really think about it. Like the Saints, I mean, they might be a little bit better. The Jets aren't that good. Cardinals aren't that good. Dolphins aren't that good. Falcons aren't that good. The Titans, maybe they're a little bit better. Giants are kind of up and coming. and the Bears are just going to be trash. So overall, it's a successful season for the Detroit Lions. They get their 11 wins, 7 losses. They make it to the playoffs, but we'll see how far they even go when they make it to the playoffs. I just think it's going to be a much easier path for them this season, just based off of their opponents. And that's all I got to say. Hit that like, comment, and subscribe buttons, and let me know what you think of the Detroit Lions. Are they making it to the playoffs, or are they going to absolutely have injuries at the end of the season, kind of like what they did last season, and they just fall apart like a domino set? Let me know. And that's all I got to say. Go Pack, go all day.